Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Good to see you all. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
welcome. Okay, I think almost everyone has joined. Still, probably one or two more people should be joining, but yeah, hopefully we will see them soon. But for those who are here already, welcome to our Meet the Tea Farmer event. I see some very familiar faces, so thank you for coming back again, and some new faces as well. Thank you for joining today. Today we are going to spend a day in Saga in Ureshino with our guest Inoue-san. So Inoue-san joining us from Ureshino, and we'll tell a bit more about his region, his tea farm, and also his teas. I think everyone should have the teas by now. So yeah, so welcome everyone, and let's give the word to Inoue-san. Inoue-san, konnichiwa.
こんにちは。はじめまして。
Welcome everyone.
No, yo no me veo, así que voy a hacer, pueden hacer el tinta.
All right. Inoue-san, 自己紹介お願いします。
はい。佐賀県嬉野で、お茶の生産をしています。井上健二と言います。よろしくお願いします。
So this is Inoue-san. His name is Inoue Kenji, and he's a tea farmer from Ureshino in Saga Prefecture. So very glad to meet you all. And we would also like to hear from you as well. I think most of you might know each other, but I think it is also nice for you to introduce yourself to Inoue-san. Just to let you know that we are recording today, so if you don't want to be recorded, then the best way is to keep your camera and mic off, but you can use the chat instead, and we will keep a track of what is going on. And for those who have your cameras on, I will call you in to introduce yourself, and yeah, and please join whenever you feel like with your comments, with your questions. All of that is welcome today. So how about Andre, would you like to go first?
Oh, sure. Hi, I'm Andri, and I'm from Indonesia, but I own a small online tea business in Malaysia, and we are currently getting our teas from Obubu and a few more farms. Looking forward to being here.
Thank you, Andri. アンドリさんです。インドネシアから今日参加してますけど、マレーシアで隣の国でお茶の店やってて、で日本からお茶も輸入したりします。お茶園とか他のお茶園も少し仕入れて販売してます。Thank you so much, Andre. And how about Elena? We haven't seen you in a while. Please join us.
Hello, good morning or good day, everyone. I'm tea lover. Maybe a bit later I go for small tea business too, but it's still on building. And yeah, I'm waiting for a long time after harvesting to get the new tea gathering. It was really exciting to test new tea. Thank you.
Sure. And Elena, where are you joining from?
I'm from Belgium.
Okay. エレナさんです。ベルギーから参加してて、すごくお茶が大好きで、将来はお茶の事業もやりたい考えありますけど、まあ今はちょっと準備中な感じですね。はい。Thank you, Elena. And how about Lilia? Would you like to join us?
Hello, good morning. I'm Lilia from Germany, and I also love teas, especially Japan and Japanese teas. In the past, I also volunteered for a short time at a Japanese tea farm in Kumamoto, and I'm really happy to taste new teas today too. はじめまして、私はリリアです。 ドイツに住んでいます。私は日本に強い興味があって、特に日本茶も大好きです。一度、熊本の茶園もボランティアしましたことがあります。今日も新しいお茶を飲んでいただいて、すごく楽しみです。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
Thank you so much, Lilia. And Doris, would you like to join and introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Doris and I'm coming from Switzerland and I have a small tea business. I took over a business from a Japanese woman who lives in Switzerland since 30 years. And so I'm very glad to meet new producers.
Oh, very good. So, yeah, so today is the day. meeting, meeting with Saga Prefecture. はい、ドリスさんです。スイスから参加してます。今はお茶の店やってて、その前にそのお茶の店は日本人の女性やってたんですけど、ちょっとやめちゃって、でその代わりにドリスさん今やってます。で、すごく茶農家さん会うのは楽しいで、今日楽しみにしてました。はい。Thank you, Doris. All right. James, please join us as well.
Hello, my name is James. I study Japanese at a university in Kochi Prefecture on Shikoku, and I've started to really enjoy Japanese tea since that time. And in 2019, I did a tour of tea farms in the mountains in Shikoku. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu.
And James, I know you speak as well. Would you like to say the same in Japanese?
はじめまして、ジェームズと申しますが、高知県の高知大学で留学しましたが、その頃から日本茶を好きになっていましたが、2019年に四国産地のお茶園などのツアーしましたが、よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。
Thank you so much. Who else do we have? Michaela, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, I'm Michaela from Vienna, Austria. I'm a tea enthusiast, and especially since last year, I've tried a lot of Japanese teas, which I loved all of them, and I'm looking forward to trying Inoue-san's teas today.
Oh, yes, great. Thank you, Michaela. オーストリアから参加しているミカエラさんです。お茶はすごく大好きで、この1年でいろいろな種類お茶を飲みまして、で今日もすごく楽しみにしてます。井上さんのお茶入れるの。はい、Thank you so much. And then we also have Chiara. Would you like to introduce yourself? I'm sorry, it was muted, I think.
Okay, do you hear me? Yes. Good morning to everyone. I'm Chiara. I am from Milan, Italy. I have been in Japan twice, and the first time I fell in love with Japan, so I started studying Japanese language and starting drinking tea also here in Italy, and I'm discovering all Japanese tea now. I just graduated from in the Global Tea Association Foundation course, so I'm an enthusiast, tea enthusiast too. Yes, I will try Japanese too. 日本語を話みたいです。はじめまして、キアラです。イタリアのミランで住んでいます。日本語を話していて、日本のお茶を大好きです。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
Thank you so much. すごい、今日日本語喋る人多いですね。よか 方です。And how about Monique? Would you like to also introduce yourself?
Good morning. I'm Monique from the Netherlands. I'm a tea lover, especially Japanese tea, and I'm learning to be tea sommelier in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to taste these new teas.
Yes, very fresh, very new. Thank you, Monique. オランダからモニクさんです。お茶いろいろ好きなんですけど、やっぱり日本茶一番ですね。で、今はソメリエ、お茶のソメリエの授業を受けてて、で、今回は井上さんのお茶もすごく入れてみたいです。
よろしくお願いします。
お願いします。And also we have Katya. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Katya from Barcelona. I have some tea business in Chile, and I like to know more tea from Japan, and for this reason I joined this meet. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Katya. カティアさんです。スペインのバルセロナから参加してます。してますけど、チリ、南アメリカにはお茶の事業やってます。お茶販売。はい。で、今日も参加する楽しみでした。はい。Thank you, Katya. And are we all? Have I missed? Oh, Stefania. Stefania also, please join us. I think the microphone is still muted. Oh, sorry, Stefania, we cannot hear you. I'm not sure. Maybe the microphone is not on. I'm sorry, I think it's. Oh, yeah, yes. Yes, please, Stefania, I think should be working now. Oh. Sorry, Stefania, I think it's still not working. It looks like it's on, but maybe it's muted on the device, on the computer. A little bit of technical trouble.
It's okay. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Perhaps, Stefania, if you like, maybe you could send us a message in chat. Then we can also read it out and introduce you as well. I'm not sure what has happened. And while we wait for that, we also have Sylvia with us, who cannot turn on the camera, but she would like to introduce herself. So I'm going to translate for Inoue-san what we see in the chat. 井上さん、あと2人でちょっとマイクとかカメラの問題で今自己紹介できないんですけど、チャットで自己紹介書いてまして、でもう一人はシルビアさんですね。イタリア人ですごくお茶好きな方で、今もお茶のソメリエに勉強してて、でうちのコース、うちの生徒もでして、であと、他のイギリスでもお茶のソメリエのクラスやってます。All right. So I think probably we had everyone. If I missed someone, please just shout your name and we can give you a chance also to speak. And as I said before, feel free to share your comments or ask your questions anytime. This is going to be an interactive way. So yeah, anytime welcome. And I see Stefania has also sent a message. So I'm just going to translate that for Inoue-san as well.井上さん、もう一人、ステファニア、もうチャットで自己紹介書いてまして、ちょっとマイクでなんか問題を起こってたんですけど、ステファニアはミラノ、イタリアから参加してます。で、彼女はイタリアでお茶の店やってて、で、お茶の授業、お茶のコースもやってたりします。日本にも行ったことあって、その時ですごく日本茶好きになりました。はい。で、今日参加者こういう感じです。
はい。
で、最初はお茶からスタートしますか？また、はい、つゆ光の玉緑茶。よかったら。
そうですね。
お願いします。
はい。わかりました。そしたら。
Hello, do you hear me?
Oh.
Stefania, do you hear?
Oh yes, sorry, Stefania.
Oh, no, sorry to disturb you. No, now it's okay. I guess I resolved the problem with the audio. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No worries, Stefania. Sorry about that. じゃあ、井上さん、お茶お願いします。
はい。まず最初に入れるのは、つゆ光という品種のお茶です。でこの品種のお茶は、佐賀県独自、嬉野茶独自の玉緑茶という、製造で作ったお茶でございます。
So the first tea that we are going to taste among the two that we have today is the Tsuyu Hikari Tamaryokucha. This is the tea made using Tsuyu Hikari cultivar, and it is made, of course, locally in Ureshino in Saga Prefecture.
つゆ光も全国的、日本どこでも作られているお茶なんですけど、今回は嬉野茶ということで、無脂性玉緑茶で作っています。
And Tsuyu Hikari cultivar is used across whole of Japan. You can find this cultivar in other regions too. But what is special today is that the kind of tea we have with this cultivar is the steamed kind Tamaryokucha. So that is a bit more local in their region.
じゃあ早速お茶を入れていきたいと思います。で茶葉はだいたい3グラムから5グラム急須の方に入れてください。
And now we would like to brew it together. So how to make it, Inoue-san is showing us and explaining. So we are using between 3 and 5 grams of tea leaves, adding to the teapot, to the kyusu.
で、お湯の温度を70度ぐらいにしたいんですけど、もし70度ぐらいのお湯があれば、そのまま急須に。で、沸騰したお湯しかない場合は、一度湯飲みに湯冷ましをしてもらって。
Okay. And so about the water, we are going to use the water of about 70 degrees Celsius. And if you can set your kettle to the temperature, then you can use the water right away. If you only have the boiling water, Inoue-san is showing to cool it down by pouring it in the cup. So we can pour it in the cup first, and then we will cool it down a little.
お湯が熱い場合はもう一回違う器に移して。
May I ask how much water?
井上さん、モニークさんはお湯はどれぐらい使いますか？
だいたい 150cc から 200cc。
So water amount should be about 150 milliliters to 200 milliliters. And what Inoue-san was showing earlier as well, if it's still a little bit hot, then we can transfer it into another cup. That way it will cool down even more.
じゃあお湯が冷めたら、 急須に注いでもらって、約1分
Once
待ちます。
the water temperature is right, once it has cooled down, we can pour it on top of the tea leaves and brew, steep for 1 minute.
でこの時に、急須はあまり揺らさないようにお願いします。
After you pour the water on the tea leaves, please don't move the kyusu anymore. Inoue-san is suggesting to just let it be and let it brew peacefully. 1分ですね。
1分です。
1 minute. So very beautiful to see inside the kyusu how the leaves are unfolding. 茶葉の色変わるのもいいですね。見るの楽しい。
そうですね。じゃあ、こっちは1分経ったので、注いでいきます。で、注ぐときに3回から4回分けて、1、2、3、4。
And after 1 minute passes and we are ready to pour, please do like Inoue-san is showing. So pouring a little bit at a time and maybe dividing the amount into 3 or 4 pours. Oh. また急須の紹介もできますか？説明。
はい。この急須はですね、嬉野っていう産地にも、こういう焼き物屋さんがあって、で、オリジナルで作ってもらった急須です。
ふたなし急須。
ふたなし急須です。
And have you noticed what teapot Inoue-san is using? It looks quite unique, quite different. This is still a kyusu, Japanese teapot, but it is made locally in Ureshino. And it doesn't have a lid, so it's kind of open kyusu, lidless kyusu.
で、蓋がない理由は、茶葉が開く様子が見れて、色がよく見えるように、蓋がないように作られています。
And why it doesn't have a lid, Inoue-san is explaining that it's easier to see when the tea leaves are opening and just to notice the color of the tea leaves. So that's why it's left open without the lid.
で、わざと平べったいように作ってて、お茶を注ぐときにお茶が踊るような仕組みになっています。
And you can see the bottom is also quite wide and flat, so there is a lot of space for for the tea leaves. And the tea leaves are as if they are dancing when you are pouring the tea. いいですね。ありがとうございます。
はい。
そしたら、入れたお茶は乾杯しますか？
乾杯しますか？
そう、色見せましょうか。綺麗ですね。
ありがとうございます。
Color, very green, very vivid. はい。そしたら、
乾杯。
乾杯、everyone.
はい。
Yay.
今回のつゆ光はシングルオリジンで何の品種も加えてなくて、でこのつゆ光の特徴としては、味がまろやかで香りが高いっていうのが特徴なお茶です。
So this tea, Inoue-san is explaining, this is single origin, so it hasn't been blended. Anyhow, this is just the Tsuyu Hikari cultivar. And what is special about this cultivar is that the taste tends to be quite round, and it has also a good amount of the aroma, quite strong aroma as well.
で、このお茶の栽培にもですね、病気に強くて、で農薬をあまり使わなくていいというのが、一番製造というか栽培しやすい 特徴ですね。
便利ですね。
はい。
And it seems this cultivar, Tsuyu Hikari, it's called, like it's written on the package. And it is also quite strong against diseases. So it has kind of natural defense. So you don't need to use a lot of kind of artificial substances to protect the plants. いいですね。梅雨光は多いですか？井上さんのところでお茶の割合考える。
まだまだ少ないんですね。あとは静岡の品種なんですけど、結構物が良すぎて、もうよそに出さないと。はい、もう静岡だけの品種なん。はい。だから持ってるのが、珍しいぐらい今なってくると思います。後々。
So I was asking about this cultivar. It has so many interesting qualities, and whether Inoue-san has a lot of tea made out of this cultivar, but he says not so much yet. Actually, it was bred in Shizuoka, and recently this cultivar has become really popular. So throughout the whole of Japan and many regions, tea farmers want to grow it, but there isn't that much of it available. So Shizuoka started to be a little bit protective, and they are not sending it outside of Shizuoka anymore. So it has become a little bit harder to get your hands on, even if you want to grow it.
嬉野は無脂性玉緑茶と釜入り茶っていうのも、知っている方は知ってるのかな、あるんで、どちらの製造にも入れる、作れる品種でもあります。
井上さんも作ったりしますか？釜入り茶。
はい、去年のティーマラソンの時はこの梅雨光で、釜入り茶を作りました。
So this cultivar Tsuyu Hikari, it actually works really well for the tamarokucha we are tasting right now, but also it works well for kamairicha. That is the pan-fried Japanese tea. And actually, some of you maybe joined the Japanese tea marathon last year when we had Inoue-san as our guest as well. At that time, he was introducing the kamairicha version of this cultivar. So maybe some of you who joined, maybe you have had a chance to taste it already. これかぶせ
です。はい。
また少し説明もどれぐらいとか、セトラ何がなりますかとか。
そうですね。まず一番茶が、収穫が5月の3日に収穫しています。で、その1週間前からかぶせ黒いバロンっていうものをかぶせて。1週間ですね。1週間から10日ぐらいかぶせたものを摘み取って製造しています。
Right. So a bit more explanation about this tea is that it was harvested, of course, this year in May, on the 3rd of May. And before the harvest, it was actually shaded between 1 week and 10 days. So it has been shaded for a bit shorter time than other Japanese teas, but it does have the shading before the harvest.
日本全国的にちょっとかぶせブームっていうのが、水色、お茶の色が緑になるのが結構好きな日本人が多いので、結構どこでもかぶせが多くなってきてますね。
そうなんですね。Recently, Inoue-san is telling us that there is a bit of kabuse boom in Japan. So Japanese people love the strong green color of the tea like we are having today. And so a lot of tea farmers, a lot of tea regions have started shading the tea, because when you shade it, you can get this kind of richer green liqueur. 井上さんももともとかぶせてたんですか？最近ちょっとかぶせようのことになってたんですか？
最近本当かぶせるようになりました。僕が、収納して 20年ぐらい経つんですけど、ここ10年も結構 100% 被せるようになりましたね。
もう100%今は。
うちでは約8割、
8割ぐらい。
80%被せてます。
So I was also asking Inoue-san about the shading, whether this is something that he has done for a long time or if it's something more recent. And Inoue-san is saying that he has been making tea for about 20 years now, but he started to shade about 10 years ago. So not the whole time, it's a bit more recent trend. And currently about 80% of all the tea that he makes is shaded style. Chiara, do you want to share your comment with Inoue-san? Please join the conversation. Don't feel shy.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I feel when I smell it, I feel something like buckwheat, sorry, and also in the taste, something astringent and a little bit like acid and lemon taste, and umami, and there is umami, which I love. Umami ga daisuki desu.
ありがとうございます。
Do you want to try to say in Japanese as well? I can help to translate otherwise.
Okay, I don't know how to say buckwheat, but okay.
Soba.
味は、そばみたいです。それに、うまみ、の味、も、あります。あると思います。
す
みません、まだまだです。まだまだです。
このつい光ですね、氷出しも全然美味しくいただけて、出汁のような、抽出がお茶になります。
So just thank you, Chiara, for the comment. It was very good.
Thank you.
And Inoue-san is also adding that this tea can work really well as cold brew, ice brew. The taste becomes like dashi. Do you know dashi? It's a kind of Japanese soup stock, so very rich and very packed with flavor. もう一回の井上さん、その氷出しとか水出しとかの入れ方、みんなにシェアできますか？
はい。茶葉は 10g で、氷は、なるべくロックアイスで、だいたい 60g の氷を入れてもらって、溶けるのを待ってから抽出をするような感じです。だいたい30分ぐらいかかると思うんですけど、出汁のような味わいで美味しく飲めます。
そうですね。やってみたいですね。So the way to make it as an ice brew, Inoue-san, that Inoue-san is recommending us is to use about 10 grams of the tea leaves and use ice cubes. So about 60 grams of ice cubes, and just let it sit in the kyuso or in another utensil that you have for 30 minutes or until the ice is melted. Then you can try this very, very rich taste of this tamarokucha.
チャットで誰か入れてくれそうですね。
そうですね、早いですね。Thank you, Andrew, for very helpful.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, please.
What is the difference of this tea and the tamarekicha, or what is the one he had on the tea marathon? Because it's the same cultivar but a different tea. What has been done differently in the process?
Okay, so we are talking about tamarokucha, this tea, and then the other tea is called kamairicha. So what is the difference between these teas? 井上さん、モニから 質問があって、
はい。
マラさんでも同じ品種使ってた釜入り茶
はい。
あったんですけど、今回、タモ緑茶ですね。で、品種は同じですけど、何が違いますか？作ってるところとか。
まず、今回のやつは蒸したお茶です。蒸したお茶と、いったお茶の違いがあって、まあ、味わいとしては、まろやかな、蒸し製の方がまろやか。で、釜入り茶の方はちょっとすっきりしたような茶になっていたと思います。
そんな感じですね。The Inoue-san's answer is that the production is a little bit different. So the cultivar is the same, but Tamaryokuche is the steamed kind. So we are using the steaming method to make this tea, the one we are tasting today. And Kamairicha, the one that was used during the Japanese tea marathon last year, is made by pan frying. So it's a different production method. And what the difference is in the taste, Inoue-san said that the steamed kind, Tamaryokucha, is a bit more round, so mellow and round, whereas the pan-fried tea, Kamairicha, seems to be a bit kind of cleaner, more refreshing in a way. And I think that probably answers Stefania's question too. I saw in the chat if it is steamed or pan-fried. So this one is steamed, yes.
And then another question I have about this kyuzu, because it's open, and if you brew the tea, it will cool faster down than if you have a lid on the kyuzu. Does that affect? It must affect the taste of tea.
Good question. Let's ask Inoue-san. Inoue-san, もう一つのことを知りたくて、この急須、蓋なし急須で入れる。で、蓋なかったら、お湯、冷めるのは早いではないですか？入れたら普通の急須と比べて味違ってたりしますか？
特にそんなには変わらないと思います。お湯を入れてもだいたい1分とか2分なんで、そんぐらいでは多分、お茶の味とかは、蓋なしだからっては変わらないです。
そうですね。So Inoue-san is saying that he thinks probably the taste doesn't change too much because the brewing time is quite short, only 1 or 2 minutes. So in that time, the change is not very large in the temperature. So he believes that maybe the change in taste, whether the kyusu has a lid or it doesn't have a lid, probably is not so big. But maybe we can try and compare to know for sure.
だいたい器に入れると5度から10度下がるって言うんですけど、まあそれを計算してお湯の温度とかはちょっと説明はさせてもらっているつもりです。70度だったら65度のお湯が入って、湯飲みに50度ぐらいのお茶が入って飲みやすい。そんな感じですね。
So maybe you know as well that when you move the water around, the temperature drops between 5 and 10 degrees. So that's basically it. Like that's the way to kind of cool down the water when you transfer it from one place to another. And Inoue-san was recommending for this tea roughly about 70 degrees, but could be also 50 or 60 as well. All right. Any more questions, comments?
What is the name of the kyusu?
ドリさんはこのキュース名前がありますか？質問ですけど。
いや、特にないですね。嬉野のちょっと僕らみたいな若いメンバーでこういう急須が美味しく入れれるんじゃないかと思って作ってもらった急須なんで、まあ、洗いやすい、茶殻を捨てやすいとか、そういう感じで作ってもらってます。
でも名前まだつけてないですね。何がかっこいいとか。 So it seems the Kyusa doesn't have a name yet, but basically it was created by their group. Actually, in a moment we can talk about it a little bit more as well. They have a group of young tea farmers called Ureshino Chadoki. And inside the group, they were thinking they wanted to create a kyusu that could be easy to use. And so they created this kyusu that's easy to pour the tea, but also easy to wash because it's so open and yeah, very convenient.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. All right.
I would like to ask how long were the leaves steamed? 茶葉は何秒ぐらい蒸していましたか？中蒸しですか？
だいたい普通蒸しです。だいたい60秒から120秒のぐらいの間で蒸しています。
So yeah, the question was about steaming, whether this is deeper or lighter steaming, and Inoue-san is saying that this is a kind of regular medium steaming. It was about between 1 minute and 1分でしたっけ
1分、はい。
Yeah, so 1 minute or just a bit more than 1 minute.
結構露光の茶葉自体が水分が多いんで、少しの蒸気でもすぐに蒸せてしまうんです。で、はい。で、全国的にはその深蒸しが主流なんですけど、僕が結構浅蒸し系が好きな方なんで、ちょっと普通蒸しというか、あまり蒸してないようなお茶です。
So very interesting what Inoue-san is sharing with us is that Tsuyu is known to have a bit more kind of inner moisture. So it's easier to steam this tea. But across the whole of Japan, it's more common to find it this cultivar more deeply steamed, fukamushi style. But Inoue-san himself prefers a bit lighter way. So that's why, yeah, he uses a bit shorter time for steaming. いいですね。
はい。
Thank you, Lilia.
I have a question.
Okay.
What about the second and third brewing? Should we brew for a little less time, so less than a minute?
Do you want to ask actually in Japanese?
I don't know how to say it.
We can help you. Let's try.
Okay. No, I don't know how to say brew. Hirekata. Hirekata wa nito san do no wa itsu irete mo ii desu ka?
So I will help you, Hyara. The way to ask for the second or third brew, we say nisenme. Nisenme is second time, and sansenme is third time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hirekata wa nisenme to sansenme yoni it's
how long, right?
How long, right?
どれぐらい時間
どれぐらい入れてもいいですか？
時間のところはどれぐらいになりますか？2戦目、3戦目の時で。
すみません。
Almost there. Very good.
Thank you.
1戦目で茶葉は開いてしまっているんで、2戦目からはもう直接熱いお湯を、飲みたい量、だいたい 5g だったら150から 200cc ですね。もう直接入れてもらって、もうすぐに抽出してもらって大丈夫です。もう3戦目、4戦目もそれで大丈夫と思います。
So as we are talking about it, I think we can do it together. And yeah, the second brew, how to make it, Inoue-san is saying to use boiling water and just to measure the water amount, how much you want to drink. But usually for 5 grams, it would be about 150 milliliters of hot water. And we don't have to wait too long at all. So almost as you pour the water on, you can pour the tea out because the tea leaves are already open and it's easy to extract. 入れましょうか、井上さん。2戦目も。
ありがとう。ありがとうございます。
Thank you, Kiara.
Thank you.
Let's brew the second brew.
もう直接ポットからお湯を。
So directly from the kettle, boiling water.
入れてもらってもすぐに出して大丈夫です。
And very quickly, as soon as you get the water and the tea leaves, you can pour the tea out. Mata ocha no iro misemasu. すごく今回緑ですね。And this time, look at the color of the tea. I'm sure you have it in your cup, but how green this is. Very beautiful.
結構熱いお湯を入れると抽出の成分の量が多くなるんで。
So when you use the hot temperature for the water, it's easier to extract the components. So we have a richer brew with hotter water.
1戦目を優しく入れてあげると2戦目、3戦目も美味しくいただけます。
And if you are gentle with the first brew, like we did with a bit cooler temperature, then you can have a nice second and third brew as well.
Excuse me, Simona, the second and the third brew will be also at 70 degrees or boiling water, like 100 degrees.
2戦目、3戦目の時でお湯の温度は1戦目と同じですか？
はい。
同じでした。
はい。
同じです。同じです。
はい。70度ってことですか？
いや、もう100度でも。
100度でも。
はい、大丈夫です。
So for second, third brew, we can go already boiling water, 100 degrees. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, let's give it a try.
いただきます。
So while we are tasting this, let's have a bit of a view into their region and into their tea farm. 井上さん、またちょっと資料みんなとシェアして、
はい。
で説明してみましょうか。
はい。
Okay, so just one moment. Okay, I think should be on your screen. So let's have a bit of a look into the tea farm. It's called Inoue. And we mentioned already that it is in Saga Prefecture, but where is Saga Prefecture? It is in the very south of the country, so in Kyushu Island, the southern island of Japan. And Saga Prefecture is known to be quite small in Japan, both in the area, it's the 6th smallest, but also in the population, it's also quite small, 7th smallest in Japan. So the prefecture is quite small, but it is quite important in many aspects. So as we can see in this picture, there is a lot of agricultural land in Saga, and about 20% of land is actually used for growing rice. So rice is a big production here, especially for mochi rice, which is used for Japanese desserts, mochi. Saga is actually the leader in Japan. And also Saga, of course, has a coastline, it has access to the sea, so it produces a lot of seaweed. It is also a leader in Japan in seaweed production. And coming a bit closer to tea is pottery. So Saga has some very famous pottery styles. This is just one, but there are actually a few in the close by area. And this is the Japanese porcelain. It's very beautiful, very colorful, like we can see in the picture. Of course, they make plates and they make bowls and such things, but you can find teaware as well, like cups and sometimes teapots in the style. Now, looking at the tea production by prefecture, where do we find Saga? So we actually find it somewhere in the middle. It's neither the largest, but also not the smallest in tea production. So the Kyushu Island is the whole area. There is a lot of tea being made, and Saga, of course, is one in that area. It produces also quite a lot of tea there. But it is not just recent. Saga has also important part in Japanese tea history. So this mountain, Seburi Mountain in Saga Prefecture, is one of the very first locations where we believe Japanese tea was planted about 800 years ago. And so this is related to Esai, the Buddhist monk that went to study to China about Buddhism, and on his way back he brought tea seeds, some of which were planted over there around the mountain, Seburi Mountain, and a few other locations in Japan as well. And now about the tea region in Saga. So Ureshino is the most famous area for tea production, and this is where Inoue-san is also joining us from today as well. Saga is known, Saga and Ureshino is known as one of the first places of kamairicha, where kamairicha that we talked earlier, the pan-fried style tea, originated in Japan. So this is how it looks like in Ureshino. There is a special style where this pan is kind of tilted 45 degrees. In other areas, in the neighboring areas, they use a different style of the pan where the pan is kind of parallel to the floor. But this way, it's easier, I believe, to make the tea for the tea farmer or the tea maker. It's a bit less strenuous. You don't have to lean in so much. So Ureshino tea is also kind of known worldwide because it was among the first to be exported out of Japan in 1856 by this lady in the picture. So she was exporting tea from Kyushu Island, especially Ureshino tea. And there is also a large a great tea tree in Ureshino that is very large. Maybe it's hard to see from this picture, but the space it takes is very large. それ井上さんもう一度ここの説明できますか？これ嬉野大茶はどういうものですか？
だいたい約500年前に植えられたお茶って言われてます。で、何年か前までは収穫してお茶を作って、飲まれてたんですけど、最近はちょっと老化が激しくて、茶摘み自体は何もしないような感じですね。
Okay. So this is a very old tea tree. It's probably about 500 years old, maybe one of the oldest in Japan. And until recently, the leaves were picked and some tea was made from it, but now it's not doing so well. So they stopped harvesting the tea leaves to let it recover and go back to health. And also Ureshino has its own tea trademark, Ureshino cha. So this is the mark given for the tea where 100% of tea is made in Ureshino. And it is used by tea shops around the prefecture. And this is now inside the tea farm of Inoue Seichaen. これ、井上さんの、茶畑の一箇所ですよね。
はい。
で、
つゆひかりの畑ですね。
And this is also the tea field of Tsuyu Hikari, so the tea we are tasting today. This cultivar is grown on this plot specifically. 何箇所が分けてありますか、茶畑？
そうですね。うちで、10箇所に分かれて、はい、あります。
So Inoue-san has about 10 locations. The farm is split into 10 areas around Ureshino. So a little bit of information. So Inoue Seichen is also an old tea farm, so at least 100 years. And Inoue-san is the fourth generation in his family. So it has a long history, and they're looking after about 3 hectares of land and generally making tea in the conventional way. That's the common in the area. And this is Inoue-san himself. Of course, we see him with us, but this picture was taken last year for the Japanese tea marathon. So maybe some of you who joined still remember. And Inoue-san is part of Ureshino Chadoki. So we mentioned a little bit briefly when we asked, but now we can hear a bit more explanation of what they are doing and what is it about. 井上さん、また少し嬉野茶時のどういう団体、どういうグループですか？
はい、嬉野にはですね、旅館、温泉と、お茶で焼き物があって、その3つを使って、嬉野で完結をするお茶を飲んで旅館で泊まって、嬉野の器を使った料理を食べて泊まるかっていう嬉野で完結するっていう、イベントをやっております。このメンバーでですね。
7人ですか？
はい、7人です。
どういうきっかけみんなつながっていくんですか？
もともと、お茶農家の仲がいいメンバーで、はい。で、これからの嬉野をどうしていくかとか、そういう話をしながら、このメンバーが揃いました。
いいですね。若い人多いですね。嬉しい。
でも30代ばっかりですよ。
若いですよ、30代。So yeah, so a little bit of explanation about this group. They are called Ureshino Chadoki, and it is a group of 7 tea farmers, young tea farmers in their 30s, who want to kind of draw attention to the specialty of Ureshino. So what is the specialty of Ureshino? It is onsen, so the Japanese hot springs that Ureshino is known for, and you can come and stay and experience the hot springs here. And also Ureshino is known for the pottery. So earlier, Inoue-san showed us the special teapot. This is also, I think, part of that creation. So again, a unique, interesting shape. And of course, it is tea. So combining these 3 attractions of Ureshino, that is what they are hoping to draw attention and to bring more people to come visit and experience Ureshino. So stay, experience the onsen, drink the tea, and have a meal served in the traditional pottery. And they are not only doing this in Ureshino, sometimes they go more widely. So this is the scene from Tokyo when they had a pop-up store. 井上さん、これ東京はいつぐらいでしたか？
これは3年前ですね。はい。4年前かな。の秋に六本木ヒルズで、スターバーじゃなくてお茶場という。
So this is a picture from probably about 3-4 years ago when their group went to Tokyo, Roppongi Hills. And yeah, they had this kind of pop-up store. And in Japanese, the sound, the comparison sound, I think is a bit funny because it's not Starbucks, which is called in Japanese Staba, and it's a tea bar, chaba. So yeah, so they are trying to bring attention to delicious tea from their region. すごいですね、こういう格好。かっこいいですね。
ありがとうございます。
It looks very cool in the dress up. Okay. And also going back to Reshino, too fast. They have this kind of outdoor space for enjoying tea. これはすごくいいですね。行ってみたいですね。
はい。で、こういう場所が今、嬉野に3カ所あって、まあ、屋根付きまで合わせて4カ所ですね。4カ所あって、ここでお茶を飲めるイベントもちょこちょことやってます。
So right now in Ureshino, they have 3 places like this and one more that has actually a roof where you can come and drink tea in this beautiful scenery. でも誰でもできますよね、予約。
はい、予約してもらえれば誰でも。
And anyone is welcome to use the space. All you have to do is just book it in advance. So when you come to Japan, maybe you can come visit. これは新茶
会の
イベント
写真ですね。
何がまたかっこいい入れ物ですね。
そうですね。基本嬉野の器とか使ったりしてたんですけど、やっぱりガラスとかはないんで、それはちょっとあれなんですけど、基本的にほとんどのものは嬉野で作ったものです。
So this is a scene from a Shincha event, so new tea event in spring, where their group, the Ureshino Chadoki, were serving the guests. And usually they're using local utensils, so the Ureshino pottery. But this time in this specific picture, we can see a glass, which Inoue-san says is not made locally, but it just looks very cool to serve tea this way. そしてちょっとお茶の作り方またもう一度話して、まあ茶畑からちょっとかぶせてるって言ってたんですよね。
はい。この写真はバロンを履いてる写真ですね。
So now we can talk a bit more about the tea production itself, and this is from their farm when they are taking off the shading. So Inoue-san told us that the tea, most of his tea is shaded, and this is just before the harvest, taking it off. And this is the harvesting scene. 収穫の時ですね。
はい。
もうさっきも言ってたんですよね。常用、基本的に常用、下半身とかを使ってたりしますか？
もうほとんど9割9分はもうこの常用でお茶摘みをしてます。
And they're mainly using this style of harvesting, which is with a driven machine. So Inoue-san says about 90% of tea is harvested this way. They do have the handheld machine, but it's very rarely used. で、工場で最初の工程は玉緑茶の場合で蒸す工程ですよね。
そうですね。うちの場合は基本的に蒸し製玉緑茶を作ってるんで、これは蒸す機械ですね。
So Inoue-san is mainly making the steamed tea like we are tasting today, the tamaryokcha. And the first step, of course, is steaming. So this is the steaming machine. で、その後は蒸してから。
蒸して、水分が結構表面についたりしてるんで、表面の水分を取って、茶葉自体の中の水分を出していく機械です。
And after steaming, we have a lot of moisture on the surface of the tea leaves. What this rolling machine does, it basically helps to dry off the moisture from the surface and start to roll the tea leaves and get the inner moisture to the outside. And this is inside the machine. The tea leaves are rolling. で、どんどん力入れることですよね。
ですね。これは水分が結構粗く、均一にする機械ですね。力を入れて。
So later on, there's more pressure. So there's a weight pressing the tea leaves down to push out more of that inner moisture more strongly to the outside. だから力つけたら
ほぐさないといけないんで、ほぐす機械ですね。あとはより葉っぱ自体によりをつけていく、形を作っていく機械です。
And after the strong rolling, the heavy rolling, the tea leaves kind of stick together, clamp together. They're pressed one against another. So what this machine does, it starts to separate and loosen the tea leaves. And also it starts to help create the shape that we see today. そうですね。で、玉緑茶の場合でもう伸ばすことないですね。
はい、そうですね。
この後にもだいたい乾燥。
乾燥です。はい。
So one big difference, maybe some of you know how Japanese tea is made. Until now, it feels quite similar to sencha, but one big difference is that we are not straightening the tea leaf. For sencha, it would be a straight shape, but for tamaryokucha, it's a little bit curly appearance. So right after the previous machine, it goes into the drying to complete the process. So this is just before entering the drying machine. そしてこんな感じですね。まあちょっと色強いですけど。So this is the tea we have tried already, tamaryokucha, but we have one more tea, which is the flavor tea with yuzu. So we can also try this one next. はい。そして次のお茶入れてみますか？
はい。柚子緑茶はですね、嬉野の玉緑茶と柚子のピールを配合したお茶になります。
So the second tea of today is the tamaryokucha with yuzu. So they are using local tamaryokucha made in Ureshino and also dried yuzu peels. Yuzu is a Japanese citrus, a kind of lemon, maybe Japanese kind of lemon.
柚子のピール自体も、僕が作っている柚子です。収穫自体は別の場所なんですよね。
And actually, Inoue-san himself prepared the yuzu, so it's made in a different area. But he collected the harvest and then peeled it and dried it and mixed it with the tea.
で香料とかは使わずにもう柚子だけの柚子の香りですね。早速、
The aroma when you open the bag, it's just the yuzu. There are no artificial aromas, no artificial flavors. It's just the natural yuzu.
じゃあ早速入れていきたいと思います。
So let's try to make it. はい、お願いします。
柚子自体も、柚子緑茶自体もだいたい5グラムで急須に入れていきます。
So for this tea as well, we are going to use about 5 grams of tea, and we can add it directly into the teapot in the kyusu.
And for how much water?
お湯の量はどれぐらい？
もう150から200で大丈夫です。で、お湯の温度はなるべく低い温度がいいので、まあ、65度から70度ぐらいが良いかと思います。
So the water amount is similar to before, about 150 milliliters, but this time we have to be extra careful with the temperature. Inoue-san really recommends to cool down the water to around 65-70 degrees. Otherwise, it can become quite bitter from the yuzu.
早速入れていきます。
So when you're ready, let's start to brew.
抽出時間は1分30秒お願いします。
The steeping time is 1 minute 30 seconds, a little bit longer than for the other tea.
これも同じように急須はあまり揺らさないように、静かに1分30秒お待ちください。
And just like before, Inoue-san is really recommending not to move the teapot. So after you pour the water, just let it be until it's ready.
この茶葉自体もですね、湯船の香りに負けないように、つゆ光のお茶と、あまりちょっと濃厚なお茶よりがあっさりしたようなお茶がいいので、ヤブキタという品種をブレンドした茶葉です。
And this time, Inoue-san is really trying to make sure that the yuzu is not overwhelming, that we can still taste and enjoy the tea. So this time he has blended 2 cultivars. It's Tsuyu Hikari, the one we tasted just before, that has this kind of mellow round taste, and also Yabukita. So it's a blend of the two, Tsuyu Hikari and Yabukita, that has a bit more kind of cleaner, fresher taste. 楽しみ。
湯は結構熱いお湯入れてしまうと苦味が出やすいんで、なるべく低い温度で入れてください。
And Inoue-san is saying just again that yuzu naturally has a little bit of bitterness in the peel. So he really recommends to cool down the temperature, not to make this tea with boiling water, because you can get quite strong bitterness otherwise. Good ですね。Thank you, Andrea, again for summarizing. Very helpful. If anyone wants to check the brewing of this tea, Andrea has written down in the chat.
1分30秒経ったので抽出していきます。
はい。So now the time is passed and we can pour the tea. Just see how Inoue-san is doing again.
こんな感じです。
おー、綺麗な色またですね。Very beautiful color again. 感じ。Do you have your cup? Shall we try together? はい。
乾杯。いただきます。
So please let us know what you think. Have you tried green tea with green tea?
Sorry, ma'am, I have a question. In general, how many times you use to dip, to steam the tea in lighter, medium, and deep steamed?
How long do you mean?
How long? Ah, yes, how long, sorry, how long, yes. To define a lighter tea, a medium tea, or a deep tea.
Well, let's see what Inoue-san will tell. ステファニアからちょっと先に戻るんですけど、蒸すの工程について、朝蒸しとか中蒸しとか深蒸しとか何秒ずつとか決まりあったりしますか？
産地によって違ったりしますね。
嬉野にはあり
嬉野の場合は180秒前後が深蒸しって言われて、まあ60秒ぐらいだと浅蒸し。
あ、60まで
はい。その間が、まあ中蒸しって普通蒸しぐらいですね。
So maybe there is not one answer in Inoue-san saying that it will depend on the region. It's probably a bit different by the region, but in their area, in Ureshino, what is common is that under 60 seconds is going to be light steaming. Over 180 seconds is going to be deep steaming. And in between 60 and 180 seconds is going to be the medium steam. But again, just to repeat, this is for their area. If you another area, there's no rule for the whole of Japan. Yeah.
Yes, yes, great. You answered my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a lovely tea. I really enjoy it. And I can imagine that as an iced tea, it would be very, very refreshing as well.
Good idea, Monique. モニックさんはすごく美味しいって言ってまして。
ありがとうございます。
はい、で、水出しでも美味しいじゃないか。
その通りです。どっちかというと、おすすめは水出しの方が、はい、おすすめなんですけど、今回は時間だったんで、お湯出しの方で。
I do have a mizudashi right here, actually. Mizudashi yuzu tamariukucha.
Oh, you have made it?
Yeah, I made it yesterday.
Oh.
アンドリューも作ってみてたんですね。How is it, Andrew?
It's very good. I can really taste the yuzu. And the umami is still there as well. It's great.
うまみちゃんとあってでも柚子の味もします。水出しで。
ありがとうございます。
まあ水出し。How much tea to water? What is the ratio in your ice brew?
水出しの時で入れ方何グラムとか。
だいたい1リットルの水に対して10グラムの茶葉を入れてもらえれば美味しくいただけると思うんですけど、薄い場合はずっと茶葉を足してですね。
So Inoue-san is recommending about 10 grams for 1 liter of water. Is that what you did, Andre, or did you try something different?
Yeah, I actually put a little bit too much, so I diluted it a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much did you use?
I think I used about 10 grams for 500.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I diluted it a little bit when drinking.
アンドリ入れてみたときで、500cc で10グラム使ってたんですけど、ちょっと味強くて、その後にまた水足してた。薄めて飲めたんですね。Yeah, so probably about 10 grams for a liter should be enough. Thank you so much. Hi. Anyone else? Any comments or questions about either teas or the tea farm or anything you like?
Simona, I can share my impression. I wrote it also. The perfume is very similar to the Tamaryokucha, but I think the yuzu comes out really strongly and very presently when you drink it. And it's a really nice blend between yuzu and umami. I think they marry really well. Yes, I think it's amazing. I tasted yuzu when I was in Okinawa.
Okay, just by itself.
Yes, I ate and drank a lot of yuzu.
It's a bit sour, no?
Yes, I like it very much. So.
木原さんは沖縄行った時で柚子食べたとか飲んだことあって、で今回はすごく旨味と柚子合いますね。合うのがまあすごくいいと思ってて、 そう、美味しかったって言ってました。
ありがとうございます。
うまいですよね。
Thank you.
うまい。
And is it possible to share the website, or does he have a website?
OK。井上さんのホームページとかあるかどうか今モニック来てて、
はい。
シェアしますね。
はい。
So yes, so Inoue-san has a website. I'm going to post it in the chat. This is his website, but also he has a Instagram account. So I'm going to share as well if you would like to follow him after the event. Please have a look.
インスタグラムは最近何もしてないんで、
あ、
ちょこちょこ
そうですか。
上げるように頑張ります。
結構写真載ってたから思ってて。そっか、ちょっと前からですね。
Just a question. What other tea do you do?
Oh, good question. ステファニアの質問は、他のお茶、何が作ってますか？玉緑茶以外で。
基本、玉緑茶を作ってて、まあ、品種が、梅雨光、やぶきた、奥緑、まあまあ、5種類ぐらいの品種を作っています。
So, Tamarokucha is the main tea that Inoue-san makes, but he has a few different cultivars. So about 5 cultivars, including that Tsuyu Hikari that we tasted today, and Yabukita, あともう一つ何でしたっけ？奥緑 and 奥緑 and a few more.
で、販売用で、釜入り茶とか、紅茶とか、作ってます。はい。
And he also makes a bit of kamairicha and wakocha, Japanese black tea.
基本的には、市場に出荷するんですけど、一部は、自分個人で販売している部分があるんで、そういうのは、釜入り茶、紅茶、で、フレーバーティーで言うと、柚子緑茶、ミント緑茶を作って、最近は、ほうじ茶に柚子を混ぜてみようかなと思って、ちょこちょこ、今やってるんですけど、なかなか、まだできてない状況ですね。忙しくて。
もう今、お茶の季節で。
はい。
難しいですね。So Inoue-san mainly sells his teas through the market over there in Saga, but he also sells a little bit by himself. So what he brings to the market is mainly the Tamarokucha. That's the main tea. He sells through the auction, through the market, but through his own shop, online shop, he also sells a bit of black tea, wakocha, a little bit of kamairicha, the pan-fried style, and also a few flavor teas. So today we could try the green tea with yuzu, but he also has another one with mint. So that could be quite interesting too. And then he said he would like to try to make yuzu hojicha, but it's been a little bit busy and he hasn't found time to do it yet. 面白いですね。柚子ほうじ茶。どうなるかな。
結構、イメージ通りにできてないんで、なかなか販売まで。はい。
ほうじ茶味と柚子とバランス的にどう合わせるかですよね。
ですね。
So it seems it's a bit hard to match the two flavors, the roasted flavor and the yuzu flavor.
And what about black tea and yuzu?
和紅茶と柚子はどうですか？モニクの質問やってみましたか？
いや、そこまではしてないですね。それこそ紅茶自体がそこまで作ってないんで。
So Inoue-san hasn't tried yet black tea with yuzu because he only makes a little bit of black tea. He doesn't make so much of it yet. So maybe for the future.
あと、嬉野周りのメンバーが もう作ってるというか、もう溢れ返ってるんで、今更作ってもなーっていうところもあります。
And it seems there are a few other tea farmers in Ureshino who are also trying to make black tea. So maybe it's kind of not the right timing for Inoue-san to do it.
そもそも柚子緑茶ができたのは、柚子紅茶があったから柚子緑茶を作ってみようと思ったんで。
And actually, thinking how this tea came about, this green tea with yuzu. So Inoue-san was actually inspired by black tea with yuzu made by another tea farmer. He found it and he thought maybe he can do something similar with green tea. And that's the result we're tasting today. そうですね。初めて私も飲みました。でもすごく美味しい。すごく合います。
あとは、そうですね、柚子を混ぜるにあたって、その茶葉の種類をあんまり持ってないんで、まあ、緑茶の場合はいろんな種類を持ってて、こうブレンドして、こういうお茶ができたんですけど、やっぱり紅茶とかほうじ茶は、その茶葉の種類がないんで、なかなか味を決めきれないっていうのが、
茶葉の種類っていうのは品種のことですか？
品種とか、その、ほうじ茶で言うと焙煎の仕方ですね。深入りほうじ茶とか浅入りほうじ茶とかいろいろあるんですけど、そういう、なんていうかな、バリエーションを持ってないんで、ただ混ぜるだけじゃ、それこそイメージ通りにいかないなっていうのはあります。
So for green tea, for Tama Rokcha, Inoue-san has a few variations, like we talked about the cultivars and so on. But for his black tea or for his hojicha, he doesn't make so much and he doesn't have that much variation, like different levels of roasting or different cultivars for black tea. So he doesn't have that much to basically experiment with. And what he tried with hojicha so far is what the result wasn't what he wanted, what he imagined. So yeah, so it's not as simple as just combining, say, hojicha with yuzu. You have to find the right balance and the right place for them to match. And so far, he hasn't found that matching point.
I can imagine with the hojicha that you have two bitterness from the hojicha and then the yuzu, which maybe increases bitterness.
Could be. ほじ茶の場合でちょっとモニク的に苦味少しあるじゃないかと思って、でそのほじ茶の苦味と柚子の苦味合わせる苦味増えるだけになっちゃうの意見ですね。
はい、そうなんですよ。そう。
That's exactly right, Monica.
But the second
Monica, I'm sorry. I think it's microphone. Yeah.
The second brew is also very nice. The yuzu is coming more out. I really enjoyed this tea. You shouldn't change anything.
モニカさんはもう2戦目も入れてて、2戦目はすごく美味しいで、柚子の味香りもうちょっと強くなりました。はい。All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for asking questions and sharing your thoughts about the teas. We are coming close to the time, so I think we will ask Inoue-san's last words, last message for all of us today. Inoue-さんも時間そろそろになりますから、最後の一言、皆さんにメッセージとかあれば。
はい。
お願いします。
はい。初めてこういう場面作ってもらってですね、みんなに会えて、とても楽しかったです。また、日本に来られたときは、嬉野にも遊びに来てください。
So it was first time Inoue-san could spend time with you like this directly. In the marathon, the experience was a bit different. We used mainly chat, but now we could speak directly. And so Inoue-san enjoyed this a lot and says, when you have a chance to come to Japan, please come visit Ureshino. Please come to see him. ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you everyone for joining. I think we had a great time with these amazing teas with Inoue-san and getting to know his tea region. We will try to make another event and we'll share the information very soon for the next month. And in the meanwhile, yeah, let's stay connected and hoping to see you next time. Thank you so much. またね。
ありがとう
また会いましょう。
また会いましょう。
バイバイ、ありがとう。ま
あ
たね。
りがとうございました。
ありがとうござい
Bye,
ます。
arigato.
Arigato. Bye. Thank you so much.